spawns that are known as XL, and I'm using the GYAN EOS, and man oh man, this mole suit just feels so goddamn extravagant. And man oh man, this thing is really awesome. And man oh man, them GYANs, man, has a pretty damn interesting history. And this is basically a secret project type of mole suit that the YMS 15, I think, GYAN is known for from the 1 Year War, and MS Quev, I'm not sure, MS Quev, M Quev, or I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. He was basically in this series with Char, and I believe it was like Gundam Origins or something like that, and it was pretty damn cool at like during that cool era at that time. It was really awesome. And Mque, I believe he used the GYAN against Armaru Ray, and yeah, that was a pretty damn savage, interesting goddamn mole suit. And when I'm using this mole suit, I just feel like I have a goddamn freaking vase on my head. But you know, I have no problem because this is one hell of a fancy looking vase that I just enjoy using a lot. And I really never had a problem with this mole suit whatsoever. And yeah, this mole suit comes equipped with 2 different type of rocket variants. I believe there's a one with the 8-shot, and then there's one with the 6-shot, I believe. No, there's one with the 4-shot, and there's one with the 6-shot, I believe. And when you're using this mole suit, you know, you have some pretty damn nasty agility. And when I mean nasty agility, this mole suit has some pretty damn insane speed. Speed it does excel in, and it's just freaking phenomenal when you're literally in a group of enemies and you go for your melee and you just come out of nowhere and you just throw out some crazy good old fashioned surprise factor with the good old fashioned beam bayonet. Man oh man, that thing is real cool, man. And you know, with this guy, and I basically gave this mole suit, you know, gold colors because, you know, during the time I really loved using this mole suit, and it was pretty damn, you know, it was pretty damn nice. You know, it's very, very effective in, you know, every single scenario. You know, sometimes if you're trying to approach a dude from long range, don't worry, your beam bayonet is going to click and tap that dude and just give him a nice good old fashioned love tap with the guy. And yeah, really, really solid stuff. And you know, you come in with 2 melee swings, and the melee, you do some really, really insane reach. Yeah, and yeah, this mole suit, you could just madly get really competitive with this thing. And using this mole suit pretty damn competitively, it can be used very nicely if you're trying to, you know, push as, you know, the lead enemy, like the lead player in your team, and you're trying to rush a group of enemies. It's highly recommended if you just literally rush them, like you rush them with this mole suit and then you go for the melee. The melee is the most top priority of this mole suit, and the melee of this thing is just, man, this is what makes this guy and just the way it is. And yeah, it's pretty damn savage when you're trying to, you know, trying to take the lead for your team. So this is basically kind of like the mole suit that, you know, your team can rely on when it goes to the front lines, because when it reaches the front lines, it's going to do a lot of devastating damage, and on top of that, you get a really nice benefit that your team members, when you're literally pushing in the front lines with this mole suit, your team members are going to see you go for the melee. When the team members see you go for the melee and you knock down 3 guys, your team members are going to praise you. They're going to praise you, and you know, seeing you knock out 3 dudes for them, and it gives them enough time to go in for really nice, devastating attacks with this mole suit. Now, oh man, the speed of this thing is just really nice, especially on ground and space. I have like videos for space and ground in this mole suit, and what this guy is meant for is space. And yeah, when you're using this mole suit in space, it just really throws a lot of the enemy players really off guard, because you know, when you're going for, you know, beam saber attacks, it's just only a short range. Now this thing, you just literally go freaking needle picking with this thing, so you can just literally jab dudes with the melee. You know, when you jab a dude with the melee, it literally staggers them. And not only that, the melee speed of this GYAN is just so damn remarkably fast, to the point that, you know, you can actually get faster with this mole suit. The more and more and more you use this mole suit, the more faster this thing gets. And you know, there's a lot of mole suits that, you know, you can do that with, you know, like specific sort of mole suits. And this one is just one of those exceptions where it's just absolutely exceptional, and then you just come in looking all freaking fabulous. And did I say how freaking fun it is to actually color this goddamn mole suit? Now yeah, it's really savage. Now one problem with this mole suit, probably the only problem with this mole suit, is that if your team members are in, you know, in your melee range, and your melee is going to knock down your team members. Now to combat that, make sure when you're trying to go into front lines, make sure you go into the front lines with a bunch of enemies. You go into front lines with a bunch of enemies, you're guaranteed that you're not going to land any hits on your companions, your team members. And if your team members are smart enough and they know how the GYAN works, they have to stay away from its melee, because when you're next to the GYAN's melee, it's going to knock down 2 of your team members, 3 of your team members, 4 of your team members, if they're just all really desperate and hungry for you know, kills. And you know, that's the thing about the GYAN. You know, you can literally knock down like 5 dudes with this melee. If there's literally, you know, people surrounding you, like literally surrounded you with this melee, you can knock down like literally 4 enemies tops. You know, you can literally knock down like 4 enemies plus one of your allies by accident, and you know, it's going to be a win-win situation. So, you know, you need to do really nice multiplication, some adding and subtracting with this freaking melee, because, you know, what you gotta keep in mind, your melee can be a 3-in-1 factor. So you could take down 3 enemies and then knock out 1 of your team members. And that's what makes this mole suit really, really savage. Now, I've used this mole suit so many times. I really love using this guy, and yeah, I highly recommend it. I've been able to get first place with this mole suit I don't know how many times. I've had so many videos of this mole suit, and it's just exceptional. It's just fancy as hell, man. And you know, when you're using this mole suit, you just gotta freaking rub it. You know what I mean? You just gotta rub it. You gotta rub the genie's lamp, and then you just gotta wish. You know, you're gonna wish that upon a star that you're going to literally knock down a whole group of guys with this mole suit. And I'm not really good with this thing, but you can abuse this mole suit. Like, you can literally abuse it, and when you abuse this mole suit, it's just freaking amazing. Look at the pivot movement of this mole suit. The pivot movement of this thing is just amazing. And man, oh man, I missed my bazooka shot, and that's what really messed me up right there. And you know, the whole weapon priority of the weapons that you use on this mole suit is your bazooka, your beam gun, and your melee. But your melee is basically the most top priority of this mole suit. But this melee, the first thing you want to do with this melee is get in close combat. It don't got a shield there for nothing. You know, you can use that as a protection, you know, when you're going You know, the problem with this mobile suit is that when an enemy player knows how the GYAN works, they can catch your melee. Now, what I recommend is that you have to make sure the opponent is staggered. When you make sure the opponent is staggered, go in for the melee with this thing. And yeah, man, really nice savage genie lamp freaking stuff here. And I love the goddamn gold color on this mobile suit. And you know, the standard color of this guy is really cool too. I believe the standard color is, I believe, red. I don't remember, but you know, it's basically a secret type of, you know, experimental mobile suit that, you know, it was supposed to come out, but you know, history has changed. Now, you have to get aggressive with this mobile suit. Benefits with this thing: it's got really decent HP. It's got amazing speed. Look at that. Knocked down 2 guys. If there was another dude right next to me or 2 other enemies, with that melee I could have knocked down 4 guys. Now, that is, you know, that's saying a lot with this mobile suit. Right over here, I did not see that effort coming. Literally surprised my eyes. I was like, oh crap, this is not good. Not good at all. Look at this beautiful range. And you know, you just gotta give the enemies a love tap with this melee. When you give an enemy with, you know, this goddamn reach of this melee, it's just, oh man, it's really nice. And the best part, you can literally tap them in their toes. Their little tippy toes with this goddamn freaking mobile suit. You do some really nice leg busting damage with this thing. And yeah, the melee is really nice. It does, like, oh man, it does a lot of damage, especially when you slap on a melee boost on this mobile suit. You can go for, you know, turning rate. Like, you can literally go for a build motor and just mad turn rate this mobile suit to the point that it's just amazing. As you can see, I was able to catch that man's, like, death quick enough because of the mad speed thrust of this melee does. And you know, just keep this in mind, you know, the melee is as tall as this guy. The melee weapon is almost as tall as the goddamn freaking GYAN itself. So yeah, it's really nice. If I had to rate this mobile suit, I'd give this literally a 10 out of 10 because of just amazing. But you know, you have to make work with your beam bayonet, you know, like you have to make work with your beam gun, your bayonet, and all sorts of stuff. And look at that, I did like 3 love taps with this thing. Perfect when you're trying to go in for finishers also. The dude's trying to back away from you, you just go in for the love tap. And when you go in for the love tap, they can't do anything about it. And that's what makes this thing just amazing. As you can see, I was going up against a enemy general right here. I believe he was a Gundam, and he had a absolutely crazy advantage because I dropped in the most worst and crap the moment he was in, and I messed up a lot of my engagements against that aquamarine guy. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Freaking amazing mobile suit. You know, it's got dodge roll. You know, it's got sufficient enough boost to get out of bad situations. And it can literally succeed in engagements in such a nice, you know, formidable way. Look at this. Knock that dude down. Beautiful. Timing too. You have to literally time your melee. You have to make sure your melee does not hit your team members. Look at this. Big giant opening for me. Look at all the open space that I have around here. Real nice. Look at my team members doing a really nice job trying to keep a distance away from my crazy melee. Look at that. Love tap, baby. Now there was a support right over here. Me and the support were going at it. I believe one of the enemy team members basically dropped in right on time to basically save him from getting his butt beat. And I was having a hard time because that Marine know what was going on, because he saw me do some really insane reach with this damage on this weapon. And yeah, the melee is just what saves this mole suit. And yeah, if it had another weapon, like if it had maybe a grenades, like if it had grenades, it would have been pretty damn interesting. It would be a really interesting mole suit. But the way this thing works, it just, you really don't need anything in this mole suit. It works, and it works real nice. It's got a really nice flow. Right here, my melee was able to pierce one of my team members right behind that gun cannon. That just shows how amazing that thing is. Look at this, I'm just going in for taps, dude. Like, you just literally tap. You only tap in moments when, you know, you see your team members literally right next to you. So make sure you just literally tap, because you don't want to knock down your team members and look like an idiot going for, you know, full goddamn melee. And yeah, I've had that happen so many times with me, and I look like a complete idiot when I accidentally hit my team members with this melee. And you know, yeah, GYAN EOS kicks ass in all angles. And yeah, I've had nothing but really good matches with this mole suit. You know, I've had bad matches here and there, but they were like really bad. You know, I would sometimes get like 5th or 4th place with this mole suit. But, you know, certain times, you know, you just have those sort of days. And, you know, when you're looking at this goddamn freaking mole suit, look at the goddamn spikes on his shoulder, you know. Ain't that freaking intimidating? Like, wouldn't it be so cool to just, like, ram some dude with those spikes? Right up here, I was getting staggered and shot at, and I was trying to think strategically with this mole suit. And right over here, I was kind of stupid. I was left in the opening and gave an opening for enemy players to land their shots on me. I tried to go in for the melee, and don't worry, like, you just have moments when you just feel like you can't reach, but you'll eventually reach a dude, which is really nice. Right there, that was kind of awkward. I'm not sure how did that melee, you know, caught that man on that building. I was trying to keep up with a lot of these enemies, but accidentally hit one of my team members by accident. And that's the thing, you know, that's one of the problems with this mole suit. You're going to hit a lot of your team members. But man, now the speed and the thrust, it's got really nice speed and thrust. So you can jump here, you can jump there, you know, you can jump through a corner, and then you could go for your heavy melee, and you can strike 2 guys down by surprise. And you know, that's a really good tactic also. And as you can see, I was trying to go to a really nice engagement, because a lot of those enemy players were focused right over there. This guy was using his GM, really nice solid stuff. I was messing up, and I believe it's got explosive, like reaction armor, so you don't get like phased when an enemy mobile suit explodes next to you. So you know for a fact this is meant for a close combat. Right over here, I accidentally hit one of my team members by accident. He kind of got in a really bad momentum. So when you're right next to a guy, and you have to keep in mind, you know, every single player, you always got to keep in mind that the guy is not going to, you know, be 100% certain with his melee, because the melee has an insane reach. Look at that crazy reach. Knocked down 3 dudes right there. Insane. If that was one of the enemies, I could have knocked down 3 enemies with this thing. Look at this. I feel like the GYAN EOS has one of the most coolest goddamn catch animations. knocking those knocking those 2 enemies right there was a 2-in-1 type of factor, so it was a good idea to actually knock down all 3 with this goddamn melee. Right over here, try to go in for melee, missed my melee, try to go for melee, that thing barely tipped, like that barely clicked on that guy, which that's what makes this Mosu just really crazy. And the range of this melee is just amazing. I love it a lot. As you can see, I was trying to go after that guy got super lucky, my legs got destroyed, and boom. Nice stuff. If you wanted to, you could have spawned right there, and if there was a group of enemies on that point, you could have just meleeed everybody. That's how devastating this melee can be. But I'm not like really like professional with this, but I can see the potential of this melee, and it's just freaking awesome using this thing. Tried to do a really nice splash damage right there, try to go for the beam gun. And the cool thing about this Mosu is that the beam gun can constantly, and what I mean constantly shoot, it can constantly shoot its beam, and it can do substantial, like specific damage and really bad scenario moments. Right there, was able to get a nice kill. Try to go after this man. Dude did a good job knocking him out. Killed one of the enemy players right there. Enemy players are trying to struggle. They were basically struggling, trying to keep up. And this is actually really good news, because I was able to do a really nice damage. Look at this. Look at the speed. Like, I'm literally taking the lead with this monster. Beautiful. Accidentally hit one of my team members. It was either that or we're going to basically lose the whole engagement right there. And look at that. You can mad change the lead with this thing. And what this Mosu, it's got is a really aggressive strike reach. Like, its reach is insane. And if you're basically the goddamn freaking the arrowhead of your team, if you're basically the spear point of your team, you can literally rush like the whole enemy team, just like that whole scenario, which is pretty damn really nice with this Mosu. And the best part is that sometimes the enemy players really can't escape from the clutches of this beautiful melee this Mosu has. And at this specific moment, what I'm actually surprised is that there was no water in this area, so I was having a hard time trying to do some really nice stuff right here. Look at this. Beautiful. And this man was trying to keep up with me, but I was just having a really good time trying to go after this. And I believe the very tip of my melee could not catch that team member. Now I tried to go for the melee. My legs were broken. This man was absolutely lucky. And with that specific sort of luck, I basically, couldn't win the match right there. Could have won the match, as a matter of fact. And the game was basically over. But as you can see, you can use this Mosu really aggressively. And the boost, you can use the boost on this Mosu very nice, very aggressively. And 10 out of 10. See y'all later. Take care.